The psychedelic revolution is here. If you want to integrate your visionary experiences into your purpose, get clear on your entrepreneurial path, and help people while you do what you love, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to The Psychedelic Entrepreneur, medicine for these times. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a spiritual business coach, 3-time entrepreneur, and a lifelong student of psychedelics and sacred plant medicines. You carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times. This podcast will help you to share your medicine so you can create transformation in the world. Listen in on conversations with psychedelic leaders, changemakers, and conscious entrepreneurs who are living proof that a better world is possible when you follow your heart and live in alignment with your soul. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I am going to talk today about being a psychedelic entrepreneur and all the common questions that I get from people who attend my workshops, my trainings, my current and past clients, and so on. So I will go into what is believed to be the necessary and future careers in the field of psychedelics and what you need to make this your career or your business. So first of all, I've interviewed Rick Doblin, the founder of MAPS, a few times for my Psychedelic Sacred Medicines Purpose and Business series. And I forgot which one it was, maybe in 2019, when he was saying that there's going to be a need for more and more people working in this realm as psychedelic assisted therapy becomes more popular, more readily available, while it becomes decriminalized and legalized around the country and potentially around the world, let's hope. And as we know, as we can tell, psychedelics and sacred plant medicines are not going anywhere anytime soon. They are now, being proven by science to have healing potentials and so many benefits in realms that we don't even know that's totally possible. For example, don't quote me on this. I've heard little bits and pieces about psychedelics healing ADHD in children, psychedelics, we all know about PTSD and trauma and anxiety and depression, which I don't know about you, but pretty much everybody these days in the years 2020, 2021, and so on, everybody feels an air of anxiety and uncertainty. Even if you've handled it quite well, like I have, it's still an anxious time to be alive as a human in this transformation we're going through as a planet. So, and the growth of psychedelics and the awareness and now the science that's coming out and the research and all the people who are working behind the scenes and on the forefront to make psychedelic medicine and psychedelics readily available, and also to create a space of freedom, cognitive liberty, where you can choose to work with psychedelics for your own path and your own healing on your own legally without worrying about what is going to happen to you. So that is coming. If you don't know about the decriminalized nature movement, please follow it. There are organizations, at least all over the country, probably all over the world, who are working on this initiative to decriminalize psychedelics and sacred plant medicines. And then from there, of course, the next steps are like full legalization. But anyways, that's not what I'm here to talk about. So some questions I commonly get, though, are, what is the future potential? Like, what kind of psychedelic entrepreneur businesses are there and will there be? So even Rick Doblin, which I think, by the way, I think these videos are on my YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure. If not, we'll add them in. But Rick Doblin had said, with the growth of psychedelic assisted therapies, we're going to need more integration work. We're going to need integration coaches, people to help people, therapists or different somatic therapists or trauma-informed coaches and, other forms of transformational workers. It's not necessarily only therapists that can help people get through this, there's so many people who are trained in different modalities to help you integrate the psychedelic experience. So there's going to be more and more need for this. He even mentioned sound healers, breath work practitioners, musicians to accompany the actual psychedelic sessions, because there's only so many pre-recorded things we can listen to, right? But what about live musicians or even recorded, of course? And then, I forgot what else he had mentioned, but this is the whole idea, is that it's not just about the medicine itself. Because as we know, if you have worked with medicines, you know that the medicine is not the cure-all. It's so much more than that. It's really the it's the day-to-day, the moment work. So meditation teachers, body, movement coaches, people who understand energy and how to move the energy out of your body and really get to the root of traumas or the anxiety or the depression or whatever it is that your client or the patient is going through. So there's a lot of potential. And then there's things we just don't know about yet. I truly believe that there's going to be more and more smaller niches tapping into the potential of psychedelics to help with specific areas of healing. So I've mentioned this before, but I have clients currently and past clients who've done work or who do work around healing, coaching, and transformation with specific issues. And then they're bringing in psychedelics as part of their coaching, meaning, maybe they're prescribing microdosing to someone, or maybe even, telling them to go work with someone or facilitating a one-on-one session. But I've seen this with health and wellness, with mindfulness, with weight loss and getting your health and body back into order. I have a client who's doing work around eating disorders. I have a couple clients who are doing work around death and end of life and death doula and death coaching, and just really changing the conversation around death and how do psychedelics help with the death and the grieving process. I mean, there's so much even in that alone. I could do a whole podcast episode on death and grieving and psychedelics. That's something we haven't really tapped into yet. And I do believe this is coming. I do believe this is, we're going to see the conversation around death completely change. And then there's, of course, deep trauma healing. A client of mine is working with sexual trauma. And then there's movement, like moving the energy, getting into your body, embodiment practices. I have currently and have had many coaches that work in the embodiment field. So how can psychedelics help you get into your body? Well, this is a whole industry within itself. And actually, this is one of the areas that I believe has a lot of potential, because psychedelics are so heady and crown chakra oriented. They're great for expanding your mind and consciousness. But very often people can have trouble integrating it into their body and getting grounded and getting back into their body. And this is actually going to be very important as psychedelic use grows and becomes more prevalent. I am speaking about this from firsthand experience. I used to be the most ungrounded person ever. I'm a double fire sign. I'm full of energy. And add in psychedelics and add in my busy lifestyle where I used to live in New York City and work my butt off. I mean, psychedelics were they were the best thing that ever happened to me. But at the same time, it took me a lot to really learn how to ground my energy and get into my body. And that's when the effects of all the psychedelic plant medicine worked and really had a profound impact on my life and my healing and my trauma. And, I could go on. And that's when things really started to shift. So I'm a very big believer in embodiment practices, somatic work, somatic experiencing. There's so many different realms of somatics. So there's a lot of potential for the bringing psychedelics into your work. And yes, I do realize that they're not legal everywhere yet. And that's a whole nother episode I will do about how to approach legality and, get around all of this and put yourself out there and be able to work with them without getting in trouble. So some questions I commonly get from potential clients, from people who attend I do a lot of free trainings and free workshops. One I get a lot is, do I need a certificate? Do I need to get some kind of certification to become, I don't know, a psychedelic integration coach, or to be a life coach who also works with microdosing, or be some kind of leadership coach, or, be an embodiment coach, but then, my clients work with psychedelics on their own. Like, how do I bring that in? So here's the reality. No one on this planet is out there regulating this, telling you to go get a certificate. And in my personal and professional opinion, it's not about getting the certificate. Yes, there are many certification programs out there. They're all very good. I'm friends with some people that run them. I haven't done them myself, but I have worked with clients who have done them, who've said nothing but great things. So there are many certification programs out there. Some are very long, 12 months to 18 months or 2 years, and some are very short, 3 to 4 months. Some are even, I think, a few weeks from what I understand. So I do encourage you to go check those out and do constantly be learning and growing and, perfecting your craft. I, as a business coach, am constantly learning and growing and studying and doing different, modalities. Whether I get a certificate or not is beyond the point. I'm always doing some sort of training. Right now, I'm actually entering into a training starting this weekend that is going to go on for the next 9 months. So 9-month training. I work with a coach who's training me for something else. I'm always doing my own inner healing work. Of course, I'm always doing my own psychedelic work as well. And all of this is, to me, is the certification. So, but here's the thing. If you've only had a little bit of experience working with psychedelics, but now you want to make psychedelics your career, that's one thing for you to be transparent about. That's what I would recommend, is just be honest. And it doesn't matter if you've had 25 years experience with psychedelics or 2 years, be transparent about your own journey, and just know that it doesn't, it's not about doing 500 ayahuasca ceremonies and now you're qualified or doing 3 psilocybin sessions and now you're qualified. It's not about the numbers. It's really about, the fact that you have something to give. And here's the way I see it is, everybody is climbing this mountain, right? There's this never-ending mountain that goes on and on and on. And every human on this planet is at a different point in the mountain. And maybe you're here at 2,000 feet up the mountain, and there's some people in front of you at 4,000 feet or 9,000 feet. And then there's some behind you at 500 feet or 1 foot, some people that represent where you were a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And to me, those are the people you are able to help. The ones that are behind you that don't even know how to get to where you are now. And that's where you have clients. So to me, it's not so much about getting 10,000 certificates and then you're ready. It's about jumping in, starting to work on your business, and constantly be training. I personally would be concerned. I would never work with anyone myself who was not always learning and growing. Because as you do your own inner work, as you do your own growth and evolutionary work and your own healing, your clients will also correlate with that. Meaning, if you move up that mountain, they'll move up with you. So as you expand, your clients learn, your clients grow. So never stop training. That's one thing. 2, I do know one of the core issues out there that seems to be a problem, which hopefully is going to change soon, is that there aren't that many training programs. So for something like psychedelic assisted therapy, I only know about 2 programs, and they are very hard to get into. So that's one barrier that a lot of people are coming up against. I know there are some underground programs with therapists training people on their own, and from what I understand, and I've worked with some clients who've been in these, they're wonderful. And then I do know there are people that just train by committing, making it a commitment on their life path. So for me, I don't give out psychedelics. I don't facilitate. I'm not being called to that. But I've done enough psychedelics in my life to be able to understand this process and guide people through the integration into their business, which is my specialty. My goal is to help you start and grow your business and make money doing what you love and help transform this planet and share your medicine with the world, because I do believe your medicine is what we need for these times. But through my own depth of work, and I'm one of these people that tended to go pretty deep onto the medicine path, meaning, multiple times a year, not every weekend, not excessively, but multiple times a year, including, dietas down in Peru with the sacred plant medicines, and really going deep into the spirit of the plants and really understanding, and being really committed to my own inner healing, meaning every single day it was about the integration. It wasn't just go to Peru and then life changes. It was about doing the daily practice. So daily meditation, daily self-care practices, daily chanting, working with somatic therapists, taking care of my body, exercising, sleeping, being grounded, making sure that I enjoyed, being in nature. I could go on and on. So those are some of my personal practices. But through that depth of experience with the actual psychedelics myself, that's what made me called to start working with more and more medicine people. Although I always had clients that were medicine people. So that's how I personally feel about certificates. Go get them if you want, but watch for the loop. This is a loop a lot of people get caught up in, is feeling the need to just go get certified over and over and over and over and get 10,000 certificates, but then you haven't started your business. So then what happens? 2 years go by, 4 years go by, 8 years go by, and you've done a lot of training, but you're not helping anyone. And to me, that's a disservice to your potential clients that you are here to help. So just understand that the world needs you and you are qualified to help people right now. Even if it's maybe not at the level that you want to be at, maybe it's not yet. Maybe you don't do one-on-one psychedelic healing sessions until you get proper training, but maybe you're able to help people with their journey, with their life, with whatever it was that you went through that you were able to help yourself with, and maybe now you can help others. So that's my personal perspective on certificates. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that, but the reality is some of these certificate programs, yes, they're wonderful, but they're just made by people like me and you, or, maybe just people like me. It's not like there's one authority at the top governing this whole entire industry. Except I would maybe say Rick Doblin. But, even then, he would probably agree with me saying like the need to help people or the ability to help people doesn't really come through getting a piece of paper. It comes through experiential learning. So, but don't quote me. Sorry, Rick, if I'm putting words in your mouth, but I'm pretty sure that that's on some level what he would agree with. Okay, so what kind of other training or classes do you need to become a psychedelic entrepreneur? So, I always recommend learning how to start and grow your business, because the one thing I see out there is a lot of people spinning their wheels, getting lost, not knowing what to do first. They don't know what to do next. And they're trying all these different strategies, and maybe they're even throwing money into a website and, winging it and trying this or that or posting on Instagram. And a year goes by or 2 or 3 years go by and they're not really making money and they're not helping people. So that's one thing. If you want to start a business in this transformational realm, go start it. And the best thing you can do is learn the steps the right way to get it off the ground. So that's one thing I highly recommend. When it comes to other training, this, again, like I just said, you have to really feel into what is it that you want to learn? What is it that you see your ideal clients need or want from you? And also look into your own healing. Like the training that I'm starting now is a training, but it was for myself, but of course it's going to help my clients because I'm going to learn a whole new level of helping people. But it's also for my own inner healing. And that's how it goes. So, what is it that you want to learn for yourself? Is there something you're being called to? Has somatic work changed your life like it has for me? That's actually part of the training I'm going into, is learning a lot of somatic techniques besides what I've just learned by working with therapists for the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years straight. So, I would really recommend just feeling into what it is that really lights you up and what you want to work on for yourself. And that will help you better serve your potential clients, because your clients here on this mountain, they are you where you were in the past. That's usually the case. Very rarely have I seen anyone ever coach or help heal someone without going through the journey themselves. That is the whole point of this, is you eventually get to the point where your own transformational path has been so impactful, and it will always continue, by the way. There is no such thing as like healing it all first and then going on. It's a constant journey. So that journey you had, it eventually brings you to a point where you want to be of service to others and give back. And that's how this works. So usually your clients are a mirror of who you were in your past. So some other questions I get: is this legal? And again, I'll do a whole episode on legality, even though I do not give legal advice. So please consult your attorney and legal professional, because I am not an attorney and I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the law. Except if you are feeling called to bring psychedelics into your healing or transformational practice in some manner, the one thing you have to just know is, if you want to take the risk to do something that's actually illegal, like give someone something that's illegal, or, grow it or sell it or whatever it is, that's you taking a risk, and that's up to you. It's up to you if you are, feeling confident and called enough to just take the risk and know that no risk, no reward, right? But there are many other ways to get around this. And this is what I do with most of my clients. So most of my clients do not give their clients psychedelics. Some of them do some healing work, but I don't get involved in how that happens and who gives it to them and what manner, right? That's not what I'm here to do. But I always say, have a legal aspect of your business. It's the best thing you can always do, no matter what. Even if you are a facilitator, always have a legal arm, because that's, first of all, the goal is not to just be on psychedelics constantly, and we all know that. So if you're able to facilitate, then you're probably able to help people integrate as well. But if you want to be a coach, and maybe, let's say, you're helping people work with, I don't know, their anxiety, and you're acting as pretty much just a life coach, but then that maybe microdosing helped out with your anxiety and you would like your client to start microdosing, you can guide them on how to acquire it, how to actually microdose. The reality is, these medicines are everywhere. Please do not contact me asking me where they're located. But they are everywhere. So if you set the intention to find them, or your client, you tell your client to set the intention to come across some medicine, they will probably find it. And that's the reality of the world we're in today. So this is one way to go about doing it legally. You can also, this is something I teach in my business coaching programs. And this is what happens with me, and this is what happens with most of my clients. But when you are called to the psychedelic path and you start speaking about psychedelics and sacred plant medicines as part of your own journey, or as part of your training or your interest, or clients that you've helped, what happens is the more you speak about it, the more it will attract those people to you. So you may already be working with people who are on this path, or a little bit on the path, or interested in the path, just through the way you communicate. And again, I'll do another episode on how to communicate to attract in potential psychedelic clients, because that's a whole art form in itself. So just know that through the way you message to your ideal clients, this will hopefully attract in the right kind of people who are open to your whatever it is, psychedelic coaching or psychedelic healing or whatever other psychedelic business you have. Um, so I want to give my clients psychedelics. How do I do this? So again, I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do, but I do know I have had clients come to me say, I really want to open up a psychedelic healing clinic, or I want to help people with their, quit drinking alcohol because psychedelics help me quit drinking alcohol. How do I do this? And this is where I say, you have to really feel into your body to feel what feels right to you. Are you willing to risk potentially getting in some kind of trouble? Or, maybe you move to a place where it's a little more allowed or decriminalized, or maybe you partner with someone. This is something I usually recommend, like go partner with someone or take your clients to a place where it actually is legal. Or recommend a particular retreat center or whatever it is, or, a particular country where then you're allowed to work with it without getting in trouble. So there's always a way. As an entrepreneur in general, entrepreneurs tend to have some risk. That's the whole nature of being an entrepreneur, meaning we're not just working for the man, collecting a paycheck and praying that our, stable job doesn't go away. We are taking a risk by working for ourselves. That's what entrepreneurship is. And, again, if you learn the right steps, the risk becomes lowered because then you just are given the right steps to grow a successful business. But generally, that's something you have to really feel into. Are you willing to just take a risk? Or are you going to wait it out and see how the laws change? But, the reality is the world is moving very fast right now, if you haven't noticed. Just in general, with everything, shifting and changing very quickly. I mean, look at our digital currencies that are everywhere. I mean, who knows what will happen with psychedelics? They could be completely decriminalized and legalized within the next couple years, for all we know. We don't really know. And, we'll see. But the way I speak about this to my clients, I call them psychedelic pioneers. And I do believe that if you are a psychedelic entrepreneur listening to this, or an aspiring psychedelic entrepreneur, or a spiritual entrepreneur, or coach, or healer, you are a pioneer who is helping usher in a whole new realm of healing. Even though it's not new, it's ancient, but it's new to the masses. So you have to really, really own it, like own what you're here for, like really feel it into your body. And I'll tell you my own quick story around this. So I've been a business coach for a while. I was always on a deep spiritual path. I've been working with psychedelics since I was quite young. I really dove into them for the last, I think it's been like 8, 9, 10 years is when I got like really deep into more of the personal development and spiritual and healing benefits of psychedelics versus when I was in my teens and 20s, where it was a little more of the recreational side. So as soon as I had these really profound healing and spiritual experiences with psychedelics, my business started shifting. I realized that these had such a profound effect on me and my life that there was a part of me that was being hidden because of the fear of coming out of the psychedelic closet, which I know a lot of people have. A lot of my potential clients get scared to talk about it. But as we are seeing more and more, it's becoming a lot more normalized now, right? Like Michael Pollan published a best-selling book about it. It's on the mainstream media every day. But when I first started getting the downloads, as I call them, as many of you do, it came actually through the medicine. And I had already had a lot of clients who were already on this path, and I really enjoyed working with them because I loved that we were able to speak about their experiences, integrate their psychedelic journeys into their business, into their purpose, into their heart path. And I loved it. And I just kept thinking to myself, well, how do I get more of people like this? I had a vision in I think it was 2015, or 2016, 2015, sometime around then, that showed me that I was just here to help medicine people. And I was like, well, are there that many medicine people who are feeling called to start their transformational businesses, like coaches, healers, other people doing transformational work? And, I didn't know, but I figured if there was me and maybe a couple of people I knew, there must be more. And so I started feeling this desire to speak about this more publicly in order to see if some people felt the way I did. And I knew that if people were working with psychedelics and they were in a misaligned career or a misaligned business or doing work that they didn't love and they were on a psychedelic path at the same time, I knew that something was going to wake them up so much that they actually had to go make the change. So that's when I knew it was actually doing a disservice to not talk about it, because I knew there were people out there suffering with jobs that they hated or in a career path that felt totally misaligned. And I knew I was here to help them. So when you just really connect deep down into your heart, into what your mission is, what your purpose is, what you are here for, and you connect to that every time you make a decision, that's your guiding light. That's where the golden nuggets will come in. So for me, I started feeling like, gosh, I really need to talk about this, but I was actually really scared. I was scared of, getting my communities in trouble. I do work with medicines in the US sometimes, and I was scared that someone was going to follow me and show up at my door or whatever, spy on me and then like shut it down or, like the worst case scenario. I was afraid of what people will think. What about the people who didn't even know I did psychedelics? Which, yes, I actually had a bunch of friends that didn't really know about this. But then I knew my mission and what was living inside of my soul was much more important than my ego, which is my fear-based monkey mind that was telling me all these stories about, the cops showing up at the door or pissing off my friends or having my neighbors, shove me out of the neighborhood. Like, I could go on and on. So this is what I teach to my clients. This is one of the very first things I teach, is really connecting deeply to what's living inside of you more than all the fears living inside of you. The fears are just your ego-based monkey mind, which wants to keep you safe and stagnant and keeps you living the same life you've been living. But your higher self, which is what is calling you, I believe, your divine self, this part of you that is beyond what you can even understand, people call it many different things, like it's your soul, it's something living inside of you, and there's something coming through. That's what to pay attention to. And if something that's coming through sounds really damn scary or really damn risky, just like I did, I sat on it and I just contemplated it for a while. It actually took me almost 2 years. And then I just started noticing that it was like eating me alive. I knew that if I didn't start putting this out there, that I, first of all, would never know what happens, right? And then number two, I knew I was missing being of service to a lot of people. So when you are connected to what your mission is, so for example, I have a client who's dealing with, works with people with addiction and addiction recovery and, alcoholic recovery. And she had mentioned like, well, I know psychedelics help through this and it helped me and this was my path. I want to help others, but I'm afraid. So you really have to connect to which is more powerful to you. Helping others and creating change that potentially saves lives in the world, or that little piece of you that feels really scared, And I know there's a reality. I'm not totally delusional about the reality of illegality, but you have to really feel into which feels more guided by your deeper heart, the divine in you. Is it what you're here to do, or is it that part of you that's like, okay, maybe I'll just stay at my job and not ever do this business? And there'll just be a lot of people left suffering, So you have to make that decision. And this is where I say connect your mission over your ego. Mission over your ego, your heart, your purpose, what's living inside of you. The more you can make decisions from that, it will guide you in the right direction. And all you have to do then is follow the little golden nuggets that it drops on the path. And I'm telling you, this is the heart path that I speak about all the time. The heart path leads you to the divine abundance. Because when you wake up out of the morning feeling so inspired to go to work, you feel so inspired to get into action, you feel inspired to get on a video and make a podcast, go talk to your potential clients, go talk to the world, post on social media, write an email to your list, go collaborate with someone, tell your own deep story. That's what gets you out of bed in the morning, is connecting to that inspiration. That's knowing that you're here to help others who are going through where you've already been. And that's like the core of all of this. So that's really, those are some of the biggest questions. I get 1,000 other questions about how do I turn this into a business that makes money? And how do I set up systems and structures? How do I get clients? You guys, those are like 20 different podcast episodes, and they will be coming out very soon. So just keep watching, keep listening to this podcast, and just know that I am going to give you all this information because that's what I do. That's my deeper mission, is to get you and your medicine out to the world so we can create a happier, more love-based, heart-centered world and create massive transformation on this planet to help all of humanity and help Mother Earth herself. So anyways, if you have any questions, please just comment or reach out. Let me know. If you didn't enjoy this, just please, it would really do a lot to help get your medicine shared and help this movement reach more people. If you leave a review or click the subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. And I will see you very soon. Until next time, bye. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're feeling inspired, I'd appreciate it if you showed your love with a review. And check out my YouTube channel where you can find the video version of this podcast. You can also head to bethaweinstein.com to learn more about me and grab my free business growth trainings. Remember, you carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times.